there's actual steam coming out from underneath here. Okay, so this is like a sauna, basically. We have moisture underneath, and just look, there it is. You can see it. I'm trying to capture it on camera. Do it again. Do it again, come on. There's actual steam, like a sauna, like you're in a sauna. Boy, it's hot up underneath there. Rocks, these rocks aren't helping because they're heating this up. There it is, look. You can see the steam. Look, I'm not playing. There's steam coming out of here. Alright, so I'll tell you what we got going on here, right? So this is a Kong Armor system. It's only a couple weeks old. And we're in Cincinnati. We're in a beautiful part of Cincinnati. Very lovely property. And if you look here, there's a shade line. Now, I've studied shade line on decks for years. Try understanding what makes this happen and what makes that happen with shade. How it affects coating systems. Blah, 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 blah. I've studied it. It's a weird thing to study, but it's something that I've been doing for years, right? So we cleaned this system, and then we coated this system. A couple days later, it rained for several days, right? Then the customer presents water bubbles here, right on the shade line. Right on the shade line. So what we did, instead of just coming out and just fixing it, just sanding it and fixing it, we wanted to get to the root of the problem and figure out what was actually going on, because we knew the system was clean. We knew we got good adhesion, right? So we took up the planks. Immediately upon taking up the planks, we found lots of water on these joists that run through here, okay? The deck boards, and we're 4 or 5 days out from rain. Okay, so this is the sides of the deck boards that are furthest away from the house in the sun, and then these are the ones that are in the shade. They were soaking wet with water. This is about 45 minutes later, so they actually had water coming off of them, drops of water, right? So soaking wet, we're 4 or 5 days out. This is part of helping people with their decks. It's not about just placing blame. You actually have to find the fault and find what's going on. When you pull up these boards, you can see that the ground is literally 4 inches from the bottom of the deck. When we pulled these up, there was steam that came up out of here. So this is just a giant moisture trap with steam that's coming out. It's basically like the underside of these boards are subject to almost like a sauna-like situation all day long, where moisture is just sucking up into the underside of the boards. And so obviously it's going to try to find a way out. It's going to try to go out the top, and then so you start to get water bubbles that come up through the coating. And unfortunately, there's not a lot that we can do about that besides try to rectify the ground and try to rectify the moisture problem. So it's not a deck coating problem, it's more of a moisture problem on the property itself, right? So this stuff is not always black and white. Everybody constantly wants to Everybody constantly wants to point, but they never want to actually break the problem down and see what it is. And so what my company does is we don't run from the problem. Instead, let's help the customer. Let's find out what's going on. Let's try to solve it, and let's try to fix it for them if we can, right? It's easy to blame it on a coating. It's easy to blame it on a tradesman. It's easy to point at all the outside sources. Instead, do the work, right? So let's see how this turns out. So we found basically an animal nest, and this is all right up on the underside of this deck, touching the bottom of the deck, and it's piled. There's an animal nest from here to here. Then Jeremy found, basically, this is a giant lake. So here's the outside member of this particular section, and it's blocked off where water can't get out. We're going to dig this out. We're going to dig under it so water can pass through it, but as of right now it just pulls. Basically this whole area here where we had the peeling is a pond. It's a giant pond that just holds water. So when it rains in here, water comes in here and sits in here, and it sits in here for a long time, and it acts as a sauna, and it actually starts to steam up and get warm, and that opens the pores in the bottom of those boards, just like on your skin. It causes that wood to expand and open up, and it draws in that moisture, just like relative humidity. It draws in that moisture, and then those boards open up to water, and they start taking it in, and then it wants to find a way out, and so it tries to go out the top, right? So what we're doing right now is we're working to get as much gap, first off, between the ground and the underside of the deck boards. Secondly, we're working to resolve this ledge. Essentially, you got an outside member here where the mud is right up to the bottom of it, where water can't go through here. This one's not as bad as that one. This one's super clogged up. So we're just going to dig these out and keep cleaning this out the best we can for now.
And it's getting filled up right there in the back, and it's pushing it back this way. And it can't drain this way because it's got these boards and stuff, so it's just pulling up.
Right, the cross members stop it from draining. Yep.
We'll take care of it.
So the resolution that we did here, man, that screen is really cloudy, huh? The resolution is we pulled up those planks. We actually stuck some covert lines down in there, some drainage lines down in there, and we dug up the ground and put a lot more separation between the bottom of the planks and the ground. We also dug out those joists, those band boards, the sides there, where water could pass through there. And so now we've got the planks back on. We're gonna wash the system. Have to probably do a little bit of spot sanding and touch up. And then we'll come back through and we'll recoat this. Of course, we have to reattach the planks, right? But probably throughout the history of them owning this deck system, they've never probably had a deck coating contractor actually come out and do this for them, lift this up and find out what the actual problem is, right? So they keep coating this and they keep having the same problem, right? But nobody's ever actually searched for the problem. And it's just a water trap. There's just a water trap here that's causing moisture to get up in there. And it's something that we're gonna have to deal with until We find the solution until we find the answer that works, right?
Got it.
Think we got it?
I think we got it.
Jeremy thinks we got it. We're gonna find out. If not, then we stay with our customers for life. We'll help her. We'll help them here. Try to figure out what's going on as much as possible. We'll provide support until we do figure out what's going on, until we do figure out how we can resolve the issue and stop that, because Kong is strong. There's no reason for it to be bubbling or having issues like that. If there's something like that going on, there's some type of external problem. And I knew that immediately when I showed up today and looked at it. I said, this isn't, Kong doesn't do this by itself. It's not going to start having these problems unless there's something else. There has to be something else going on. And when we lifted up that first plank, and you could see steam coming out from underneath that deck, there's the problem right there, right? You've got steam and moisture underneath that deck system that is absorbing into those deck boards and causing water. And it doesn't matter at that point. It doesn't matter the coating system. It doesn't matter the coating. It doesn't matter what's on the substrate. There's going to be issues. But what it takes is a company that's willing to go the extra mile to find out what the problem is and help, right? We stay with our customers for life. We help them, and it gets us more customers. That's the magic of it. A lot of people, they say you're crazy that you stay and you help them, and you could never get a regular painter to come back and help you with this because they're so busy. They're so caught in the rat race, so busy trying to get that paycheck, that there's no chance. Just no chance, right? They're so close to the trees that they can't see the forest, right? When you help people long term, this deck here, me staying with this client and helping them will get me 10, 15, 20 more systems over the course of 5 to 10 years. Truth. And that's how you build a long-term business. Long-term relationships with clients, with customers. Right? That's been Kong's success. Hard work. There's no secret. It's all hard work.